Let's pray to the heavenly, unlimited and infinite God. Let's pray together, one for all and all for one. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as your infinite love and mercy permits it, and lead us not into temptation by leaving us at the mercy of psychopaths and sadistic entities. But deliver us from seen, unseen and human evils. God, please surround us with your unlimited goodness, love, and mercy. You have all the might, the power and judgment. Today let's talk about the vampires. They will survive always. No, I am not talking spooky movie style vampires. I am talking about rich, elites, CEO, banker type of vampires. They will survive because their minions and cohorts will help them big time. Just listen and think. In the not-so-distant past it happened, after living on the backs on the life energy of many poor souls. I read on the NewYorkPost.com. Toys R Us execs exiting early with bonus cash. Bonus-grabbing execs are fleeing Toys R with extra dough a long time before the formerly titanic chain goes down. Toys R Us chief executive David Brandon and many of his top lieutenants will exit the bankrupt chain on Monday, with the pockets of at least 5 of them stuffed with bonus money, the Post has learned. The execs will walk away from the sinking ship of a chain while thousands of hourly workers finish the grim task of completing liquidation sales at hundreds of stores across the country. Those workers are expected to finish their jobs and turn off the lights. They will then be out of a job without any bonus cash. They are fighting to get some severance pay. Brandon and his C-suite cronies are among 1,159 employees who have either already packed their bags or will soon leave the Wayne, New Jersey, headquarters. Brandon and at least 8 other senior executives, including Chief Financial Officer Michael Short, General Counsel James Young and Controller Charles Knight, are leaving, spokeswoman Amy Von Walter confirmed to the Post. About 300 employees in payroll, human resources, and legal are staying on to help with the liquidation, said Von Walter. The 5 execs in Brandon's bunch shared $8.2 million in retention bonuses, approved by the company a week before the bankruptcy. Brandon, who recently started a consulting firm, received $2.8 million of the $8.2 million in retention bonuses on top of his $3.7 million salary, according to a report. The other example, just listen to this diabolical vampirism I read on NBCNews.com. While the executives who presided over the bankruptcy of Sears and Kmart will ring out 2018 with news of $25.3 million in bonuses, laid-off worker Andrea Patrick will be using her unemployment check to pay for new brakes on her 2000 Dodge Durango. Patrick, who lost her job when the Kmart she worked at in Rockford, Illinois, closed in October, had been hoping to use the money to buy her kids ages 1, 2, 3, 7, and 11 something new for Christmas. And it infuriates her that they'll be getting hand-me-downs and relying on charity this Christmas while the people in charge are handsomely rewarded. Those top people and Sears CEO Eddie Lampert are having a wonderful Christmas, Patrick, 36, told NBC News. They got $25 million in bonuses. Me. I'm late on my bills. The electric company is threatening to shut me off. And I don't have anything left to spend on the kids this Christmas. Patrick, who worked part-time for Kmart for 9 years, is one of the thousands of workers whose lives were upended in October when Sears Holdings, more than $5 billion in debt and unable to compete with Walmart and Amazon, declared bankruptcy. I was making $10.50 an hour when they closed my store, Patrick said. I got my farm tech license and was working at the service desk. All my life we struggled and I finally felt like I was making it. On Friday, a U.S. bankruptcy court judge allowed Sears Holdings to hand out the bonuses after the company successfully argued that it would lose its top people if there's nothing in their stockings this Christmas. Under these circumstances, it would be understandable if many key employees are asking themselves whether they should be seeking other opportunities, Sears said in a court filing last month. Sears Holdings cannot afford this uncertainty, it said. But the decision was blasted by critics like Carrie Gleason, policy director for organization United for Respect, R, and the Rise Up Retail campaign that is helping the laid-off workers. She said they're getting scrooged by Sears Holdings. It's outrageous that the bankruptcy court approved bonuses for Sears high-paid executives while laid-off employees get their severance pay cut, said Gleason. Sears workers like David Braswell who still have jobs say they are revolted that the bosses are getting big bonuses while they are left with uncertainty. I have no idea what it means for my future, said Braswell, a 14-year employee of a store in Midway, Tennessee, and a Rise Up retail leader. My co-workers and I have dedicated so much to this company, our customers trust us, and yet we don't know if we'll still have a job next week. It's the holidays and I'm not sure if I can afford my kids' gifts this year, while executives are getting $25 million in bonuses. That's not right. And this was on Prospect.org. How Sears was gutted by its own CEO Eddie Lampert not only ran the company, he was also its largest creditor and the guy who sold major Sears assets to Eddie Lampert. But just how much did Lampert vacuum out? That's a surprisingly hard question to answer, if only because of the variety of schemes he employed. Lampert was at one point simultaneously Sears's CEO, board chairman, transaction partner, landlord, and banker. Upon the bankruptcy filing, he stepped down as CEO. Because of his outsized role as Sears's number one creditor, he stands to gain in a bankruptcy even if his shares of Sears stock get wiped out. Through this ploy, Lampert has been able to transfer to himself all the salvageable assets of the company. And so far, it's worked out. If you look just to Lampert's compensation as chairman and CEO, you might conclude that he put all his efforts into making Sears a success. Lampert typically took no salary in his roles at Sears, and despite numerous buybacks and other schemes to raise the stock price, he did not engage in any quick buck stock sales, opting instead to accumulate shares. Currently, Lampert personally holds a 31% stake in Sears, and his hedge fund, ESL Investments, holds another 18%. That stock has drastically plummeted to near zero levels, and Lampert has taken a bath. But it's important not to overlook Lampert's other Sears-related revenue streams. First, Lampert has been lending Sears enormous amounts of money. As of now, Lampert's ESL and a related fund called JPP own roughly $2.66 billion in Sears debt. The cash flow just on the interest on these notes is between $200 million and $225 million per year. This figure continues to grow. ESL announced on Monday another $300 million debtor-in-possession loan to support operations through the end of the year. Presumably, this debt would be significantly curtailed in bankruptcy. However, a fair bit of the debt is secured by Sears's real estate assets. For example, real estate collateral on 46 Sears properties backs a $500 million loan ESL made in January 2017. The bankruptcy could lead to Lampert's funds simply obtaining those property rights. In all, Lampert's interests own around $1.5 billion in secured debt backed by real estate. ESL previously proposed an out-of-court restructuring proposal in which Sears would repurchase all the secured debt at full value, which would essentially have been a direct transfer of tangible assets from Sears to Lampert. Other creditors rejected the plan. But since secured lenders are paid out first in bankruptcy, something like ESL's proposal is likely to go through. Sears listed $7 billion in assets with its bankruptcy filing. Since 2015, Sears has paid $349 million to Seritage in rent, as well as installment expenses like insurance, property taxes, and utilities, according to its 2017 annual report, along with another $45 million in termination payments from shuttered stores, and as CEO, Lampert made the decisions on what stores to shutter. Moreover, when Sears does terminate leases with Seritage, the REIT is free to negotiate alternative development on the properties. As of September, Seritage has announced 94 redevelopment projects totaling $1.4 billion in investment, with targeted incremental returns of approximately 11%, according to a Seritage press release. It wasn't only real estate that Lampert signed over to himself. In 2014, Sears sold Land's End, a clothing brand, to a consortium that was two-thirds controlled by ESL. Today, the brand has a rough market value of $314 million. In 2016, Sears sold Craftsman brand tools to Black & Decker for $900 million. The profits were used to pay off debt, including to Lampert. In 2017, die-hard batteries were put up for sale. And this year, Lampert has made a $400 million bid for Kenmore Appliances, the crown jewel of what remains at Sears, along with an $80 million bid for Sears home improvement stores. but as of today, Eddie Lampert still has a personal net worth of $1.1 billion, and ESL has a portfolio value of $1.3 billion as of the end of 2017, most of it tied directly to Lampert himself. That doesn't include what he will reap through the bankruptcy, or the ongoing revenues from the assets he has managed to capture. Meanwhile, the 175,000 workers who lost their jobs at Sears and Kmart over the last decade, and the 68,000 employees whose jobs are at risk today, have next to nothing to show for it. I had to tell you this to understand how a vampire's fangs work, and how the diabolical games worked, and how they work today. Seems to be an endless game, no. Here is another vampire victim. J.C. Penney. According to an article on Observer.com, J.C. Penney paid top execs huge bonuses before firing workers, edging toward bankruptcy. J.C. Penney said the bonuses were part of a compensation plan approved by the company's board, under which CEO Jill Soltau was paid $4.5 million. Meanwhile, Chief Financial Officer Bill Wofford, Chief Merchant Michelle Ulaslow and Chief Human Resources Officer Bryn L. Evanson each received $1 million. So here we are, workers are squeezed out of their life energy, working hard to keep these companies going, and the management and executives literally drive these companies into the ground. They come out on top, not because of hard work, but because of their irresponsible, unfair, anti-Christian maneuvers. If this continues, society will be even more separated and polarized into a few extremely rich and lots of extremely poor people. Is this a future that you, dear listener, want? God Jesus Christ the Son did not want this at all. Allowing this is not the Christian lifestyle. Jesus wants us peaceful but not stupid. Not ignorant and docile. God Jesus Christ does not want us brainwashed, indoctrinated, and manipulated, zombie-like industrial robots, slaves, who live just for work and paying taxes and fees. Let's pray. Let's pray to the heavenly, unlimited and infinite God. Let's pray together, one for all and all for one. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, as your infinite love and mercy permits it, and leave and keep us not into temptation by leaving us at the mercy of psychopaths and sadistic entities. But deliver us from seen, unseen and human evils. God, please surround us with your unlimited goodness, love, and mercy. You have all the might, the power and judgment. Let's pray to the heavenly, unlimited and infinite God. Let's pray together,